Jack's Back is a 1988 American horror thriller written and directed by Rowdy Herrington and stars James Spader, Cynthia Gibbs, Loomis, and Rex Ryon. The plot follows detectives trying to track down a killer who seems to be inspired by Jack the Ripper, committing similar murders and even on his 100th year anniversary. So I figured I would take a break from the traditional horror that I normally watch and went with something that is, I guess, more of a thriller. But I would say that there's still plenty of horror touches here, though, combined with Rowdy Herrington's very solid writing. I was actually like really pleasantly surprised with this one. And it's not like, I don't like thrillers. Who doesn't like a good thriller? Who doesn't like the song Thriller? Yeah, I guess I don't watch them nearly as much as I did back in like the 90s, maybe early 2000s. And like in a lot of great thrillers, this movie is loaded with great plot twists. And I'm not used to reviewing stuff quite like this, so I'll have to be kind of careful. So James Spader plays John Westford, a young, brash, albeit compassionate doctor, working under the supervision of Dr. Tannerson, an older doctor and complete fucking prick overall. So one day at work, a woman leaves pretty shaken up after talking to Tannerson about a potential abortion. So John decides to break the rules by, looking up her address and making a trip to her home, because it turns out that he actually knew her from years before. But just as he arrives to her place, he notices that one of his coworkers, another doctor, walking into that same building. Quite the weird coincidence, he thought. So he continues to head to her apartment upstairs in this building, and by the time he finds her, she's been murdered with his coworker there, but denying having done the murder. So, just the first of like several twists and turns. And this is honestly probably where I stopped talking too much about the plot, because this movie is just too good to be spoiled by an asshole amateur like myself. So I have a huge soft spot for 80s movies. I've said that here many times. I'll continue to say it many times. Yeah, I grew up in the 80s. So it's cool to find stuff like this that just completely passed me by. I don't think I'd ever heard of this movie before just randomly buying it at a movie store. So I get some sort of like, for some reason I want to say a little bit of De Palma, a little bit of Brian De Palma vibes, maybe even a little bit of Michael Mann, although it's missing that, great Tangerine Dream soundtrack, that ties it all together. It does have its own exclusive score. But it's very 80s sounding. It's not quite as atmospheric as something like Tangerine Dream or, some of those artists that a De Palma or a Michael Mann would have used back then. But hey, this movie is its own package, and, that's what I like about it. Across the board, the acting is solid, but it's blatantly obvious who the star is here, and that is without a doubt James Spader. He's just got those skills that not every actor has. Some things you can be taught, some things you're just born with. So he plays two characters here, and though they aren't ever on screen together, he just does it better than most actors that have ever attempted it. He looks great here. He's got this undeniable charm about him, and I imagine most women in 1989 wanted to bang this dude for sure. Just an assumption. So if you're a James Spader fan and you haven't seen this, you're in for a massive treat. I never really followed. I always liked James Spader. I never really followed his career. He's still pretty young in this movie in 1988, so I'm assuming he must have found more fame into the 90s. Again, I've always recognized him as a good actor, but I've never really seriously followed his career. I might have to go back now and watch more of his stuff. I thought the two detectives here that are trying to solve these murders were also really good, but they don't get a ton of screen time, but really good characters. Other than Spader's performance, it's the story itself that makes this movie worth watching. At first, it seems like it takes its time, to get going. That's what I remember thinking. Like the first act, I wouldn't call it a slog, but it just kind of chugs along. But it did turn out that it was just character development that was, honestly, I thought was perfect to lead into the second act. So, the first act really needed that to breathe, a little bit for those great plot twists to really be effective. So I'm giving Jack's Back a 7 out of 10. I just found it to be a very, very enjoyable murder mystery and, cat and mouse type thriller. Lots of charm, and it keeps you thinking right up until the very end. So, you murder mystery fans, this is very much for you, even more so than me. And, I feel like a lot of people may not know about it, so definitely check this one out. Cheers, guys, and I'll see you at the multiplex.
Subscribe right now, please.